Is getting a tattoo illegal in South Korea? To answer that question, it's a bit of both yes and no. Let's take a closer look at the reasons why. First, we need to distinguish between those who tattoo others and those who get tattoos on their own bodies. Let's consider tattoo artists first. The act of tattooing someone else's body, in other words, the procedure itself, is not illegal. However, to provide such services, one must be qualified as a licensed medical professional. In other words, in South Korea, tattooing itself is not prohibited. Rather, only non-medical personnel providing tattoo services can be subject to punishment. Let's examine an actual case in Korea. Hong was running a tattoo shop and he was prosecuted for providing tattoo services to customers. The Korean Medical Service Act states like this. The court punished him for violating the Medical Service Act because he was not a licensed medical personnel yet engaged in medical practice. Later, Hong filed a constitutional complaint claiming that the provision of the Medical Service Act used as the basis for his punishment was unconstitutional. Is tattooing a medical practice? In this trial, the issue at hand was whether tattooing should be considered a medical practice. The Constitutional Court viewed tattooing as a procedure that involves injecting ink into the skin using needles with the potential risk of side effects such as infection during the process. Furthermore, due to this potential risk, the court was concerned not only about individuals receiving tattooing but also about public hygiene being affected. For these reasons, the court took the position that there was no issue in classifying tattooing as a medical practice. Is it okay to allow tattooing only by licensed medical personnel? Another point of contention was whether allowing tattooing only by medical personnel restricted the freedom of occupation. Hong argued that his occupational freedom was infringed. The Constitutional Court said that even if someone is a tattooing specialist, their knowledge and skills limited to tattooing alone do not guarantee the same level of safety as licensed medical personnel. Therefore, allowing only medical personnel to perform tattooing was not considered a violation of the freedom of occupation. Now, let's also examine whether individuals who get tattoos on their own bodies can be punished. This is an article from the Korean Punishment of Minor Offenses Act. This article penalizes individuals who expose offensive tattoos in public places, causing disgust to others. But this regulation was introduced decades ago, and it's very rare to enforce this provision in reality. However, merely exposing a tattoo can have a detrimental effect when it's combined with other actions that affect others. This is an actual case. A man named Hyun in his 40s had a large tattoo on his upper body. One day, he went to a fitness center and exercised with his upper body exposed. What's noteworthy here is that he not only revealed his tattoo, but also shouted loudly while exercising. Other members of the fitness center were afraid of his appearance and couldn't exercise properly nearby. Later, he was punished for interfering with business. This article penalizes when someone interferes with business through the threat of force. In other words, Hyun wasn't punished under the regulation prohibiting tattoo exposure, but rather for a different offense. The offense of interfering with business applies when there is a threat of force to interfere with business operations. Exposing tattoos in public places and shouting loudly at the same time can fall under what they refer to as a threat of force. In essence, exposing tattoos means that one can face various disadvantages even without specifically applying the regulation prohibiting tattoo exposure. To sum up, the South Korean legal system takes a conservative approach on tattoos. In South Korea, tattooing is considered a medical practice and the person performing tattoos must be a licensed medical professional. Otherwise, they can face punishment. While the likelihood of being punished simply for having a tattoo on one's body is extremely low, unfavorable consequences can arise if they engage in other actions. Laws and regulations are often formulated to reflect the predominant public opinion. The legislative branch formulates laws as political decisions, considering societal changes and public sentiment. Therefore, some actions that were not considered crimes in the past can become crimes over time, and conversely, actions that were once considered crimes may no longer be so in the future.